you know, if I had a choice, I would prefer to do afternoon runs because it's obviously shown there that the body is much more receptive to the afternoon runs. Hey everybody, how's it going? To all those new subscribers to the channel, my name's Neil. I'm a 57-year-old Aussie bloke who just loves to run. In this video, I just want to share with you a little experiment I did recently when I had some time off work. If you have been following along with the channel for some time, you know that I do work sort of strange hours, afternoon and evening shifts. And most of my running is done mid-morning to late morning. I thought during my time off I would mix things up a little bit, throw in some afternoon runs. And while there's no science behind this experiment, I just wanted to see how the body would react to if there was any difference to running in the morning compared to running in the afternoon. The results were a little bit interesting and I will share those with you as we go along in this video. And as it turned out, I was able to do this experiment the first 2 weeks of the year. The first week I was at work, the second week I had some annual leave. Now I'm going to compare week on week. Where I did do this experiment, I did try to keep the runs the same distances, the same pace, made sure the elevation was pretty similar on both runs from week to week. Alright guys, what I've done, I've fired up the computer here, I've called up my Strava, I've got training logs to show both weeks. We've got on the left hand side here is the first week of 2024, that was the week when I was still at work. On the right hand side is the second week of the year where I had some annual leave. Now for people that are new to the channel, my work hours are a little bit strange. I do start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and work through to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. So that sort of puts me out of running very early in the morning, and obviously I can't run afternoons because I'm at work. Now people will have a preference when they do run. Some runners like to run early in the morning, others like to run in the afternoon or early evening. Others just fit it in whenever they can, and I sort of fit into that category that I have to run at that time of the day because that's pretty much when I can really only fit it in. And during summer it has been really hot. We've had a lot of humidity in recent weeks, and as you know I have been struggling a little bit with the heat this summer, so this was a great opportunity to just see which was better and how my body would react to running in the mornings compared to running in the afternoons. I didn't do this experiment for the whole week because some of my days are the same. I work Tuesdays through to Saturdays, which means that I have Sundays and Mondays off. And for this experiment, I'll go from Monday to Sunday. So Mondays is usually my recovery day, and I always run in the afternoon on Mondays as well, so we won't go through that data. And Tuesdays, I join a speed group. That's a regular session that I run every Tuesday morning, nice and early. So no point comparing the data there. And obviously Saturdays is a park run day, so that's always the same week on week. But the other days of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and the Sunday, these are the days that I'm going to compare in this experiment. All right, so let's have a look at these. As I said earlier, I did keep the runs very similar. Week one, the first week when I was at work, the Wednesday midweek long run, 15.3 kilometres, and the second week when I was off, 14 kilometres. And you can see here that on the left hand side, this is a midweek morning or mid-morning run. I think I got out the door at 9:30, 15 kilometres, a 5:19 average pace. The following week when I was on leave, I did an afternoon run, 4:30 in the afternoon, 14 kilometres, a 5:06 average, a lot quicker. If we look at the heart rates for both runs, an average of 1:28 for the mid-morning run compared to a 1:26 average in the afternoon run. Now you can see here too that there were a couple of stops that I took on water, maybe a few more stops here in the afternoon. Temperature wise, 26 in the morning here, 29 in the afternoon. Humidity reasonably similar, 66% to 69%. Not a lot of difference there, only the pace, but I did feel a lot more comfortable running this afternoon midweek long run. Now if we look at the next day, which was the Thursday, a very similar run, 8.5 kilometres when I was at work and 11.5 1 kilometres here on my time off. So again, running along the Esplanade, minimal elevation here. For these two runs, very similar pace, 5:02 for the mid-morning run, heading out at 9:50, 5:03 here for the afternoon run, heading out at 5 o'clock. Humidity 70% of the morning, and the afternoon run was 68%. Temperature very close, 27 degrees and 28 degrees in the afternoon. We have a look at the heart rate. This shows up a little bit of difference again, 129 in the morning. Looks like I had one stop there for water. In the afternoon, heart rate 125 and a couple of stops there for water. The next day to look at is the Friday. Now the Friday was a 8-kilometre run in the morning, and the leave day I did a 10-kilometre run. Now this was an early morning run, 5 o'clock in the morning compared to 9:30 in the morning for the week at work. Very similar data again here. We've got a 5:03 average pace for the mid-morning run, the week at work, compared to a 5:07 for the early morning run when I was on leave. Difference here was the temperature. It was quite warm for this mid-morning run compared to the really early morning run over here, 28 degrees compared to 22 degrees. Humidity as well. Humidity was quite low for this time of the year, 69% for this mid-morning run, but quite high for the early run, 81%. Heart rate, again, here for this is where there's quite a difference. No stops on this morning run on the first week, 126 beats per minute. But the early morning run when I was on leave, heart rate 121 beats per minute, and looks like I had one stop there for water. So you've got to take into account here too, guys, that here on Strava, these average paces and the average heart rate do take into account the stops. With the average pace, Strava makes allowances for the time when you're not moving, so it just calculates what your actual moving pace is. And the heart rate, again, when you are stopping, it's just reading the whole data. So your heart rate does drop when you're having that recovery, and that's probably why there's a little bit of discrepancy there in the heart rate. But again, felt super on this Friday run. Wow, 3 runs in a row where I have felt half decent. A change in routine this week because I have been on annual leave from work. A few runs in the afternoon, just mixing things up a little bit, and I feel like I've turned a bit of a corner. The last 3 days have been, even though easy runs, I felt a lot more comfortable, and I have found a bit of joy with my running. I've really enjoyed the last 3 days, and I think it's just a change of routine. Obviously the big test will be when I go back to work next week and go back to those mid-morning runs, but feeling really good, really happy with how this week's gone. The final runs of this experiment over these 2 weeks, long run Sunday, got out the door at 6:30 a.m. on the first week, 16 kilometres, 5:19 average. The second week, the afternoon run when I was on leave, a little bit further, 18:24, but a little bit quicker, 5:10 per kilometre average pace. Temperature, much cooler in the morning here on the first week compared to over here on the afternoon run. Humidity, reasonably similar, 75% for that early morning run and 69% for the afternoon run. Heart rate for these runs, we've got 125 beats per minute for the first run, that early morning run, and then 128 beats per minute for the afternoon run. And as you can see here, some more stops for water. Probably not quite as many stops in this afternoon run. Similar data, but feeling so much more comfortable and so much more at ease running in the afternoons. outsmarted myself today. Sunday long run. I thought I'll run in the afternoon because it'll cool off. So I slept in, and I'm going to pay the price, I think, because it is so hot. I left it until 4:30 in the afternoon and it is still warm. It's above 30 degrees. So I don't know how this run's going to compare to last week's. Oh wow, that water's hot. So I found a bit of shade, bit of breeze, so it's helping a little bit. But I have knocked the pace right down. So I'm just at 7k, having my first drink stop. Aiming to get to 18 tonight, this afternoon. So we'll see how we go. Got to keep on hydrating. I'd prefer it if it was a lot cooler water. Yuck. It's windy. Oh, no water. No water. 12.9k. Finally made the Esplanade. Several degrees cooler. But no water. Oh no. Another kilometre of water. Made it. Wow, that went way better than I thought it was going to go. In fact, something happened in that run. I started to feel really good. There was a lot more good patches than bad, and the last 9 or 10k, I don't know, something just clicked and just started to feel actually relaxed and comfortable. I'm really happy with that. 18.24k, 5:23 average. That's on the Garmin, so that includes the stops. Average heart rate 127, so that's pretty good. You've got to take into account the stops. Tickled pink with that. I didn't gain a lot of knowledge from the data from this experiment because really it was quite similar. The average pace was quite similar. The average heart rate was quite similar. But what I found to be most interesting was that I felt so much more at ease and comfortable in the afternoon runs. Now, the only thing that I can put that down to is that I felt more awake, more hydrated, more fueled. Most of my morning runs that you have seen here are only fueled by breakfast. So normally I'll have just a couple of pieces of toast and a cup of coffee, and then I'll let that settle for a bit and then I'll go for a run. Obviously the afternoon runs, I've had breakfast, I've had lunch, and maybe I've had a bit of a mid-afternoon snack as well. So the body's a lot more fueled, better hydrated. It was quite an interesting thing to do. I do like to do the weekly long runs early in the morning. I like to get those out of the way. But you know, if I had a choice, I would prefer to do afternoon runs because it's obviously shown there that the body is much more receptive to the afternoon runs. And also something else to take into account here is the weather, the humidity. It's hot. We've had a lot of rain in Brisbane recently, so it is really quite humid. There's been some days where we've had humidity hitting 90+%, and this is when I'm running in these sort of conditions as well. So it's been quite tough, and I have really struggled this summer. So I'm really looking forward to some cooler weather, and maybe some of these mid-morning runs will become a little bit more comfortable, as they have been in the past. I have run quite well during winter, and that's probably something that I'm really looking out for in the coming months. So that was just a little experiment I wanted to share with you here on the channel, guys. Everybody's going to have their preferred time when they run. Let me know down in the comments when you do most of your running, and have you done this sort of experiment in the past where you've run in the morning and compared it to afternoon runs. Be really interested to know if you've seen much of a difference there as well. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Really do appreciate all your support wherever you are in the world. Run well, run safe, be kind to each other, and I'll catch you in the next video. Hooroo!